Yo, yo, yo. What up, though? Welcome to Detroit City. It's me, Ak. Those who don't know, HK, Ahmed, OXCH, however you want to say it. Same vibration, the turtle, the physician, all that. But speaking of Detroit City, man, it is cold in our city, man. One day, you don't need a hoodie. You could be out here with damn near t-shirt. Next day, we out here, you know what I'm saying? Like, bruh, it was hailing earlier. Literally balls of ice in the middle of April. Now I'm 46 years old, and I know people gonna be like, "Dog, it's Michigan." I hear that all the time. You already know, man. It's Michigan weather. But do y'all remember when the last time y'all remember it hailing in April? Not only that, the wind that we've been getting, like tornado type shit. We ain't getting them here, but I'm sure somewhere in Michigan they're getting them tornadoes, bro. That wind been crazy. Couple of people losing power. I'll tell yo, check this out right here. This is me in the backyard just filming it That's wild, bro. Like I said, I don't remember it being like that when we was kids. It After Easter, we was showing off our new suits, eating candy, running around the hood, messing up our little church pants. I mean, things change. So, I'm not that old school. I'm just like, hey, the weather supposed to stay the same. But we'll be a fool not to acknowledge what's going on. Now, I will say, after I did that Leviathan video, y'all are making me a believer a little bit. Y'all making me believe in Godzilla. That maybe somewhere they're trying to keep this motherfucker frozen. I'm starting to believe that shit. Like, I always knew they was manipulating the weather and all of that. But y'all don't convince me that somehow, some way, they trying to keep this giant lizard frozen and from moving and messing the game all the way up. They trying to buy a little bit more time so they can get the fuck up out of here. All of this is for entertainment purposes. None of it's true. It's just a crazy old man talking. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what else is being said in the world, man.
And what happens after that? Deep beneath your feet, 3,000 kilometers below, lies a glowing ocean of molten iron, spinning, raging, alive. It's the beating heart of our planet, the engine that powers our magnetic field, shields us from solar radiation, and keeps our atmosphere in place. But that fire isn't eternal. Every second, Earth's core loses heat, tiny invisible pulses fading into space. Scientists estimate it's cooling by a few degrees every billion years. One day, that molten heart will freeze solid, and when it does, Earth will change forever. No more magnetic field, no more auroras dancing in polar skies. Solar winds will strip our atmosphere bare, the oceans will fade, and the surface will slowly die. It will become a silent world, like Mars, like Mercury, cold, airless, forgotten. But don't panic. That won't happen for billions of years. For now, the Earth still burns beneath us, quietly reminding us we're living on borrowed fire.
First, though, isn't it?
It'll start getting cooler. You just watch.
The scientist is like, oh, that's not what the evidence shows.
I wish science agreed with you.
He kind of laughs. He goes, I'm not so sure you know that.
Global warming's not scary. Global cooling, that's what's really scary.
Global cooling. So that's a thing now. It went from global warming to global cooling. I mean, yo, I've been watching Paradise, man. It's like, what if the sun above is really fake as hell and the inner sun is the real sun? You know what I mean? It's time to go inside. We've been outside too long. You know, everybody be talking about, I'm outside, I'm outside. Been outside too long, dog. It's time to go in. You know what I'm saying? Get some heat. It's getting nippy out in this motherfucker, right?
First chapter of Earth's history, lasting from the planet's formation about 4.5 billion years ago to roughly 4 billion years ago. The name comes from Hades, the Greek underworld, because early Earth was long thought to be incredibly hot, violent, and totally inhospitable to life. Early in the Hadean, the planet was likely covered in molten rock after the moon-forming impact that happened early in Earth's history. As the surface cooled, gases trapped inside the planet were released through volcanic activity, forming the first atmosphere. That atmosphere would have looked very different from what we know today. It likely contained water vapor, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, methane, and ammonia, but almost no oxygen. As the planet continued to cool, that water vapor in the atmosphere began to condense, leading to the formation of the early oceans. Those first oceans were probably very different from the modern ones, with different chemistry, higher temperatures, and large amounts of dissolved minerals coming from intense volcanic activity on the seafloor. At the same time, the outer layer of Earth began to solidify into crust, which may have started breaking into pieces and moving, the early beginnings of what we now call plate tectonics. Scientists still debate exactly when modern plate tectonics began, though, so that part of Earth's history is not entirely settled yet. One reason the Hadean is so difficult to study is that almost no rocks from that time still exist. Earth's surface is constantly being recycled by erosion, volcanism, and plate tectonics, so most of the original crust from the first few 100 million years of Earth's history have long been destroyed and buried. That being said, we do have a few pieces of evidence. Some of the oldest known minerals on Earth are tiny crystals called zircons. They're found in Australia, and they're more than 4.3 billion years old. These zircons suggest that parts of Earth's surface may have actually cooled enough to form solid crust, and possibly even liquid water considerably earlier than scientists had originally thought. Because we have so little rock from the Hadean, it's hard to say exactly what the surface might have looked like, though. Some models suggest a molten world early on, followed by a planet with small protocontinents surrounded by vast, chemically bizarre oceans under a thick and unstable atmosphere. One of the biggest questions about the Hadean is whether life existed at any point during that time. We don't have clear fossils from the Hadean, but some scientists do think that the conditions for life may have been developed near the very end of that eon, especially in environments like hydrothermal vents on the ocean floor. If that's true, life could have begun surprisingly soon after Earth became stable enough to support liquid water. By the end of the Hadean, around 4 billion years ago, Earth had oceans, a solid crust, a primitive atmosphere, and possibly even the right conditions for life. The reason we refer to this span of time as the Hadean Eon and divide Earth's history into things like eons, eras, periods, and epochs comes from the geologic timescale that's used by scientists. Most of the modern timescale is maintained by a group called the International Commission on Stratigraphy. This organization works to standardize how we divide Earth's history based on things like rock layers, radiometric dating, and even major changes in the planet's geology and life. In the next video, we'll move on to the Archean era, where the evidence becomes more abundant and we begin to see the first clear signs of living organisms.
All right. Jeez Louise. Long-winded, aren't you? But no, shout out to bro. I can't see his name, but shout out to him for that informative video. Yeah, Cuban B. But I recently came across a video about astrophage. I thought that was what my man was going to be building on, because it's not a real thing, but it see, the thing is, we all keep saying it. They put it right in front of our face. I think it's I don't know if it's a game or a video, Project Hail Mary or something like that. Let me see. I think this is it right here. This was kind of interesting. Oh shit. Here we go, y'all.
According to the original novel, the name astrophage was coined by Ryland Grace. It's a combination of two roots, astro, meaning star, and phage, meaning eater, derived from the ancient Greek phagion, which literally means to eat or devour. In short, an astrophage is a biological organism that feeds on stellar energy. At only 10 micrometers in diameter, it's invisible to the naked eye, since humans can typically only see objects larger than 100 micrometers. Primarily composed of water, DNA, and mitochondria, it can be classified as a single-celled organism. Its body temperature is strictly regulated at 96.415 degrees Celsius. It absorbs heat from any object hotter than itself and converts that energy into mass. It's essentially a biological battery, but with terrifying efficiency and capacity. Just 0.5 grams of astrophage could power the entire city of New York for a whole year. This is exactly why it's used as starship fuel. However, When it clings to the surface of the sun to feed, the sun begins to dim, plunging Earth into a global cooling crisis. Rocky's home, Erid, faced the same fate, as the star 40 Eridani A was also infested. As these organisms migrate toward the sun, they discharge energy for propulsion, creating an infrared trail. This trail is the spectacular Petrova Line observed by humans. But do you know why the Petrova Line glows red?
But that ain't the one. No, that ain't it. I'm getting fed up now. Now I'm starting to feel like the crazy conspiracy guy. Let's go, man.
1,000 years. So people say, oh, the planet's warming. Well, it's all about when you start the measurements. If you start taking measurements from 1850 in the Industrial Revolution, we have been warming. If you take measurements from the medieval warming, we've been cooling.
So he's showing this graph, and unfortunately a lot of people misuse this graph, and it's being misused here, by the way. So let's talk about this. The first important point to note is that this is from one specific ice core in Greenland. So it's not representative of the whole planet. And if you look at this graph, it looks like modern temperatures are way cooler than any point in the last 4,000 years. The problem is, modern temperatures aren't on this graph. And you can actually, if you look closely, see that. Because if you look at the bottom axis, you can see that it's measured in years before present, which is 1950. And if you study geology, you'll know that 1950 is in fact the standard date used as present. So keep that in mind whenever you look at these graphs. And then if we look at the axis again, we can see that the most recent point is 95 years before present, which means that the most recent data in this graph is from 1855. All of the modern global warming that we've seen isn't in this graph, and yet it's implied by the little red line that that is the modern warming. That's not modern warming. So how do we remedy this? Well, let's look at a proper global data set, not just one ice core, which includes modern warming. Here you go, I'll put one on screen now. You can clearly see that modern temperatures are well above anything in the last few thousand years. So the moral of this story is be really careful when you see graphs, because often they're misleading.
Come on, son. Where them joints at? Kick some of that old futuristic George Jetson crazy joints. I wanna hear some of that, yo. Stop playing.
And Project Hail Mary wasn't pure fiction.
There we go.
Scientists think something like it could exist in the clouds of Venus. Venus is hell. 465 degrees, crushing pressure, sulfuric acid clouds. Nothing should survive. But 50 kilometers up, conditions become almost Earth-like. And in 2020, scientists detected phosphine there, a gas on Earth only produced by living organisms. Nobody has explained it. The brightest thing in our sky is stranger than you think. The alien organism astrophage in Project Hail Mary wasn't pure fiction. Scientists think something like it could exist in the clouds of Venus. Venus is hell. 460.
All right, they ain't explaining it good enough. I'm gonna give you my version, and I'm sure if somebody want to, all three of y'all, one of y'all, whatever, somebody in the chat could say what it actually is about, but I'm gonna give my summary of it. Okay, astrophage is a parasite that feeds off the energy of the sun, and it shoots back to Earth. It basically, that's how it releases its waste. It shoots back to Earth. I guess it releases it onto Earth, and it shoots back and drains the sun of its energy. And they were saying in this show or this game or whatever Project Hail Mary was, that was the reason for the cooling and everything. So I thought about that along with the giant lizard theory and all of that. Like, all of these theories are dope, and sometimes we just want the science fiction stuff, not just the, these scientists coming on like glaciers and rocks for millions of years. Like, bro, we know, give us the shit. If you're gonna talk about the rocks and all of them, they talk about how these rocks are old giants' flesh. Like, people want the good shit, man. Stop playing. Like, people want to be entertained, right? Ain't that what it's about, being entertained? Because sometimes the facts can be real cut and dry. It is what it is. Like I say all the time, what people scared of about reptilians is you. You know how many forms you done took on before this one? This ain't shit. This shit is new. This is baby. You know what I mean? Just like being afraid of evolving into cyborgs or transhumanism. It's a new suit. Some of us may not need it, but for those that do, I don't knock it. I remember back in the days, people used to have a hook on the. They ain't had a robot joints. They just had a little nub with a hook on that boy. Them niggas used to be scooping ice cream and everything, working the rides at the carnivals. So you just have to be, I ain't gonna say you have to be open-minded. You don't have to be shit. You could be exactly how you are. But as the world is moving around you and progressing, and you find yourself still using a rotary phone and not being able to call nobody, that's cool too. It's all about your choice. You know what I'm saying? There is no right or wrong to this shit. You know, the right or wrong comes to our morality when it comes to like, okay, these motherfuckers eat, you know what? And you eat chickens and cows and rabbits and squirrels or whatever you eat. You know, you're more sophisticated because you don't eat your own. You know what I mean? Because you eat other animals' babies. That makes you more sophisticated. But hey, like I said, it's all about how people view the world or view things. I know there's many things on this planet that the condition of this planet may not be palatable for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, turn the heat down. You know how you be in the crib with somebody and you like, it's cold as hell. Like, nigga, cut the heat up. And like, it feel good to me. We sharing our planet with other beings now. We got to learn how to get along. And one day we might be 72 degrees and next day we 40. Got to compromise. But I just had to hop on here and be like, yo, this weather is bugging the fuck out. Something else is going on. This ain't typical. I'm from Detroit. I've been here all my life. Michigan weather is crazy, but this is crazy as hell. And now with social media and everything and the theories, I may be coming around. I may, you know, y'all getting to me a little bit. I thought I had some good shit to share, but that was it was garbage. Yeah, so I may rewatch it later. That Astro Phase, check that out. That I learned about that and was like, this is pretty cool. I like science fiction because most of the things that I was just telling my wife this, how people say someone is on a spectrum or someone have ADHD or all of these things. When you really look at these gods and their characteristics, a lot of them could have been on the spectrum. A lot of them could have, you know, had mental issues, and that's what made them great at what they did. You know, something to think about, y'all. Keep growing, love and light. Enjoy your day. Be careful out there. It may be slippery if you're in Detroit. Once again, it's Detroit City. I'll check in with y'all soon. Peace.